From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
The Gallatin City County Health Department has new information on the people found to be infected with a fast-spreading new COVID variant. What health officer is saying, coming up.
And the Veterans Administration is lagging behind the rest of the state in getting vaccination shots into the arms of vets. Just ahead, U.S. Senator Jon Tester says that has to change.
The targeting of a vulnerable community in Butte. I'm Caitlin Aguilez, and I'll let you know Action Inc.'s response to a letter sent to the commissioners asking that they stop Action Inc. from feeding the homeless in Emma Park.
Well, good morning and happy Friday, Southwest Montana. I can't give you anything better than that right there.
Right.
Yeah, I love it.
It's some of the best part of living in Southwest Montana
exactly
right there.
right.
Sunrises and sunsets. Matt, beautiful weekend. I think it's fascinating. We had a couple of records broken in two of the colder communities typically in our viewing areas.
Bannock and West Yellowstone both breaking records, over a 50-degree swing in West Yellowstone yesterday.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
And probably on pace for that again today. Our temperatures this morning in West Yellowstone have been down into the single digits. As soon as I say that, it disappears, the temperature there. Temperatures into the teens and 20s for the morning. You still need those coats on the way out the door, a thin veil of clouds working across our skies, but that's the result right there. Bozeman planner this afternoon, look for daytime highs back into the mid-50s. Beautiful conditions in Butte as well. Temperatures should be into the 50s this afternoon, again tomorrow, and then we see a little shift. We'll talk about that, of course, in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Matt. Well, Gallatin County has an update on all 3 variant cases of COVID-19 in the state that were found here recently.
City County Health Department says with the help of contact tracing, all 3 cases linked to people in different parts of the Gallatin Valley. All 3 people are under 50 years old. 1 case, the person was hospitalized, no longer in the hospital. All 3 cases have recovered and are not in isolation. None of the 3 reported any recent travel. Now, Gallatin Health Officer Matt Kelly says that the lack of travel and lack of connection between each of those people shows signs that the variant may be circulating widely in Montana, and notes that it has been found in some 40 other states.
Well, the number of people eligible for COVID-19 vaccines is about to include a wider range of people.
Gallatin City County health officials are calling it Phase 1B+, with vaccine administrators like Bozeman Health and Montana State University continuing to get doses to those eligible. The plan of Phase 1B+ includes adults over 60 and those age 15 to 59 with specific medical conditions. MSU officials say, just like the Gallatin County Health Department and Bozeman Health, it is maintaining routine vaccination clinics for eligible students, faculty, and staff. Last Saturday, MSU administered the vaccine to more than 800 people. Now, Tracy Ellig, Vice President of Campus Communication, says quarantine and isolation housing is also holding water, with only a handful of students in need of rooms as of last weekend. Ellig said he's optimistic, adds that the community is far ahead of what it was at this time last year.
We're all benefiting from every single person that's vaccinated, and also what an incredible place we are in. Because I remember that at this time last February, what we were hearing from the vaccine industry was that the fastest vaccination that had ever been developed and implemented was 4 years. We are in a remarkable spot right now.
Gallatin County officials say as of right now, about 25% of those eligible for Phase 1B have received their vaccines.
By the metrics, Montana is doing well when compared to the rest of the nation for vaccine distribution.
MTN's John Riley caught up with Senator Jon Tester, who says more can be done, especially with the state's veteran population.
COVID vaccination efforts by any agency ultimately depend on the number of doses they receive each week. The state of Montana is quickly approaching around 10% of the population fully vaccinated, while the Montana VA has only had the doses to vaccinate around 5% of the 47,000 individuals they serve. Senator Jon Tester, chairman of the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee, wants that improved.
I think the VA overall is doing a pretty darn good job, but the VA in Montana, I give them high compliments for what they've done. They've tried to get out to rural areas. They're of course working in the more populated areas of our state, and they're doing a great job. And they have capacity to do a heck of a lot more. I think the big challenge with Montana VA and with VAs around the country, we just need more vaccines.
The Montana VA has been at the forefront of vaccination efforts, particularly for rural veterans. They have piloted programs using fixed-wing aircraft to deliver vaccines to some of the state's most rural areas. According to the Montana VA, individuals they serve on average are more likely to have health conditions that put them at risk for serious complications from COVID compared to the general public. Tester has been lobbying to get the VA more doses, and the VA nationally recently received 600,000 more doses, with hundreds of additional doses headed to Montana. However, Tester says that still more needs to be done.
Absolutely, we do not have enough vaccines. Unequivocally, we need more vaccines. In not only the VA community, in not only the Native American community, but everybody else too. At some point in time, and hopefully it's sooner rather than later, there's going to be more vaccines in our arms to be put in, but we're not there yet.
Tester hopes that Congress will quickly pass the new economic stimulus package, which will increase vaccine doses across the country and provide economic relief as well. Reporting in Helena, John Riley, MTN News.
John also tells us the Montana VA has been able to increase vaccination efforts in recent weeks thanks to increased doses available. Right now, more than 13% of enrolled Montana veterans have now received at least their first dose.
Well, in other headlines, getting something to eat can be tough when you don't have a home.
MTN's Caitlin Ogulus looks into a complaint about feeding some homeless in Butte.
In Emma Park, Action Inc. provides lunch to those who aren't able to get food themselves. A letter sent to the Council of Commissioners asks that they prohibit Action Inc. from feeding the homeless lunches in Emma Park. The program, We Deliver, is an effort between Action Inc., the Public Housing Authority, numerous churches, and the community health centers to bring lunches to those who wouldn't otherwise be able to eat. They offer this program 3 times a week at various locations. Emma Park is just one of them.
This location is a public park, and so to say that people who are poor, by virtue of being poor, are not allowed in the park is not an appropriate community response. It's not a crime to be poor.
The writer of the letter targets the homeless as drunks and that they make the park look less appealing.
You know, our community is one that likes to celebrate. You know, we have many celebrations in our community where that celebration moves out into the streets, St. Patrick's Day, some of the festivals, and that we embrace those things. And so what I think that we need to be careful not to do is say that it's okay for everybody else to do that and not poor people.
In the letter, the writer addressed law enforcement as animal control when dealing with the homeless in Emma Park, and that people are being run out of the park because of the homeless.
I suspect that for some people there is a stereotype of people who are poor and sitting in the gazebo as being unsafe. That's different than saying there's actual, unsafe activity happening and that there are crimes occurring in the park. We would like to be able to keep the conversation away from targeting people because they're poor.
In Butte, Caitlin Aguilez, MTN News.
Well, turning the page now, what better way to learn about science than getting a hands-on approach? That's exactly what the Bozeman Field School did this week.
Yeah, our meteorologist Matt Elwell went out to see what the group of high school students uncovered in the snow.
Why does that make sense in the middle of the snowpack?
This isn't your ordinary classroom.
Right, I'd call that early sintering.
This is Bozeman Field School, and today they are putting what they learned about snow in the classroom to work at Highlight Reservoir.
These are earth and environmental science students, and they're studying thermodynamics in the snowpack, looking at how snow changes over time in response to environmental factors and human factors.
The Bozeman Field School has been around for about 4 years and takes a different approach than the classic classroom setting.
What they're doing is this is inquiry-based science. So rather than me coming out here and telling them, like, here's the snowpack, this is what's happening, take notes on it, they get to learn a little bit and then ask questions.
The hands-on approach puts the science right in the hands of the students and builds confidence in the kids' education.
Because I feel like pretty smart, because we see like videos of like professionals who do this for a living and being able to do what they do and to being able to understand what I'm doing, and it's awesome.
And it is awesome. These students are using the science they learn about in the classroom and applying it in the real world.
I thought it would be just kind of like going through the steps. But what I am noticing here is that it's a lot more sturdy, and I think that's because the reservoir is under us, so it's like very frozen.
It's really a way to kind of promote deeper learning and to make it more authentic and like real for them.
Reporting with Bozeman Field School at Highlight Reservoir, Matt Elwell, MTN News.
Now, the Bozeman Field School teaches classes in 6-week blocks, offers courses ranging from performing arts, music, to STEM and cultural studies. Matt, I know that you were super jazzed up when you went out there. You and I have had the opportunity to see some of that science in action. Getting those kids to be able to do that, what a cool thing.
The hands-on approach, I think, really empowers these kids and really, I said it in the story, builds confidence. If I'd have had that when I was that age, wow, you know, who knows how that changes your outlook.
Changes the whole experience.
Yeah.
It makes it real. It makes it real. It isn't just something in a textbook. It's something that I can grab my hands into and scrape off with a card or whatever.
And they were all super excited to be out there and looking at that. They were looking at the snow and, you know, it was cool stuff.
Super cool.
That's amazing.
Keep up the good work. That's good
right.
stuff.
Great story, Matt. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, are you noticing more spam texts lately? Federal officials say the unwanted messages are on the rise. Coming up, find out how you can fight back.
But first, let's check in with Anthony Mason to see what's coming up at 7 o'clock on this Friday edition of CBS This Morning.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, Norah O'Donnell joins us with more of her exclusive broadcast interview with one of New York Governor Andrew Cuomo's accusers. We also have an exclusive look at Oprah's highly anticipated interview with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, why the Duchess of Sussex is speaking now, the role of the British tabloids in their split from the royals, and how Buckingham Palace is preparing for the interview. And Emmy Award winner Trevor Noah is hosting the Grammys. He'll tell us why next weekend's ceremony will be unlike any other awards show you've ever seen. All that coming up when we see you at 7.